Uh, okay, perfect. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Office hours. So there's a couple of updates that I wanted to go through. Then I think the first question from Ishmael, we can take a look at that one, and then open it up to any other questions that folks have. But so the first thing that I want to share is a library app that's been in the library, I think, actually for maybe one or two releases, but I think it's quite interesting. And basically, it's a connector to Google's geolocation API. And what that does is that gives you the ability to calculate the distance, the time required between two locations that you provided. It can do geolocation, so if you give it coordinates to tell you what the address is. And it's a series of things that I think are actually they unlock a lot of opportunities for use cases. For example, in shipping, if you need to know, okay, this is going to this location, how long will it take? Or if you have multiple distribution centers and you need to understand how to route stuff between them, I think it's an interesting add-on to apps that you already have. So just to show you how it works. So right here, you need to create an app within Google and kind of put in some credentials and authenticate it. But once you do that, this is a unit test connector. So the first thing is, for example, you put in an address, Somerville. It gives you the complete address information, latitude, longitude, and the location type. So this is kind of just like, okay, if you're searching on Google Maps for something, we'll give you the completed information. And again, this is useful if, okay, a shipment is going to a customer site, what's the full address, and you want that to print on a label or something. It's good to have the entire address and know where exactly it's located. We can get address information within region. I won't show this one. It does reverse geocoding. So like I mentioned, if, for example, I put in, I don't remember off the top of my head what the address of Boston is, but say, for example, that's nowhere, -41 and 2, okay, that's the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But anyways, if you provide it with latitude and longitude, because that's what you get as parameters from wherever it is that you may get them, whether you get them from an ERP or something else, if you have that information, you can do what's called reverse geocoding to get the full address where you're geocoding to. So for example, actually, if I get this 42 and -71, -71, it will give me somewhere in okay, Winthrop, Massachusetts. But you see, this is how reverse geocoding works. You can add filters as well. I won't get into too much about that. You can get duration and distance between two cities. So this is the one I was mentioning earlier. If you need to know how long it takes to go between one facility and another one, I can put in something like this, define the units. And here we just get very simply the distance and duration. Again, if you're shifting material between two distribution centers, or you need to figure out how long it will take for something to get in, I think a lot of the use cases for this app are actually as an add-on to other existing apps. So it's just something to bear in mind. You can also do it for different driving modes, and yeah, that's it. It's it's in the library. You can get it installed right away. Just navigate here and put your URL, and you can get started using it. Any questions on that? Okay, awesome. So the next thing that I wanted to cover quite quickly is the changing app resolution. So essentially, this is something that if you've been using Tulip for a little while, you're probably already aware of. But for those of you who are a little bit newer to Tulip, I think this is something important to bear in mind. And if you may have noticed, this app here currently is running on my computer, but it's in portrait mode. And that's because it's intended to run on a mobile app, this specific app. So to change that, you can navigate over to the app tab and then change the resolution over here. So there's, I don't know, like a dozen or 15 or something options that you can choose from that as you click through, it updates the resolution of the app. So depending on what device you intend to run the app on, you can have it, just to the correct format for whatever format you'll be using. And the same also applies, of course, to if you have a form step. The form step also kind of takes this this new format that you define again in here in the app resolution dropdown. Okay, awesome. So yeah. So let me see here. 1 second. It's just being a little bit slow. Once that opens up. I'm just try restarting it. But yeah, I mean, it was just a community post that I had posted just earlier this week, and it's basically showing how you can define other, creating mobile apps. So is this one how you can define from the drop downs which orientation you'd like your app to be built in. Good. Any questions on this? By the way, are folks building apps in kind of the non-default format already? Or are folks mostly using the default 1610s landscape?
So far, mostly just the default.
Default, okay. Okay, yeah, I think it's just something good to bear in mind that you can change it just from over here. But okay, so then moving on, the next thing I wanted to cover is data validation. I don't know why it's taking a second to open the links here, but there was a question in community just a couple of days ago by somebody asking, okay, is there a requirement to validate? There is a requirement to validate the value entered in input text field when the user taps out or clicks elsewhere, for which you need the option to write a custom trigger logic to check the validity of the input value. So I think this is a really interesting question because there are many use cases in which you need to validate what the user has entered. I think there's two main approaches that I would consider. The first one is putting the validation on, like oftentimes form steps will have a submit button at the bottom, so you can put the validation there. Alternatively, and the one that I'm going to share today, is you can put the validation on a timer trigger. So that's what this one is doing. So if I open this up, you'll see that all these fields turn to red immediately because they're not filled out. Then as I go in and I start filling out information that for criteria that I define, so for the name, for example, just any character will do, any single character will do. That's why it goes to green whenever there is a character, but when it's empty, it goes to red. So that's the name. The email, on the other hand, I can't just put some characters. I also need to contain @ and a .com. In this case, because I'm just accepting .com email, so that you see as soon as Tulip recognizes, okay, this is a valid email, it shifts it over to green. And then also for phone number, same thing. So once I put in a phone number in a format, you can see it turns to green. The form is complete. I can store it, and the app completes. So yeah, how this works is there's 3 triggers, one for each: name, email, and phone, and they each check for the input field. So here we have the input field of type text that is called name, and then we have a timer trigger. Then basically say, okay, if the variable name, which is what the user is entering in the text field, is not blank, then we do 2 things. One, we store the color green as the background. That's why you see it change to green as soon as there's a character in there. And we store a Boolean yes, just like a true false, saying, okay, the name is valid, the user can continue. Otherwise, we store red, and we store the Boolean no in the same variable name Boolean that we have up here. So this is almost the same for the email and the phone, but here for the name, if you remember, we're checking that it's not blank. Whereas for the email, I said, okay, it needs to end with the .com, and it needs to contain an @ symbol. So that's just the criteria that I defined. You can customize this to anything you want. You can add additional ones if you have other domains, but just wanted to show that you can do it this way. And then finally, the phone, it actually uses regular expressions. So for those of you who aren't familiar, regular expressions are a way to make sure that a, a piece of text is validated against criteria that you define. So here I just Googled regex for a phone number, and it got this whole complicated regular expression that's basically saying, okay, there needs to be, and it accepts different formats. So for example, if I come in here and I put in a phone number just like this, it won't accept it, but I can put it as a space, like, right, you can put it as spaces like this and it will accept it. I can also put parentheses in here and it will still accept it, and put a dash in here and it will still accept it. So there's some really neat things that you can do with timer triggers. And then the last trigger here that I basically I'm saying, okay, if all these are true, then store green in the button color so the user knows, okay, I can now submit this form. Otherwise, we'll leave it to gray. And so that's why if you see here, if I put an email, you see the button turns green, and I can go ahead and store the information. Okay, sorry, I know I went through all that pretty quickly. Are there any questions on how to do this? Are there any use cases that you have in mind for which would be good to have data validation like this?
I think for the case that I have for one of the apps I'm using, there's a comment space, which is going to be super helpful for troubleshooting. So, you know, we have, different subcategories. So to say like what the equipment center is, what the issue is, what they fixed. But I think we're going to get a lot of information from what they truly did in the comment section. So I think this will actually be super helpful to make sure that they're not submitting without providing a little more detail.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So are you planning on putting like kind of like minimum character requirements or something like that?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, maybe not be a lot because there's some situations where it may not be much of a comment, but maybe minimum for for the phrase no comment, like nothing less than that,
Yeah.
just so that we can get at least some information.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. You can put these on any fields. Also, if there's a drop down, you can do that no problem. So you can validate, okay, like if they need to select from a category or something, they can also do that there.
Cool.
Yep. Okay, awesome. And then the last thing that I wanted to share is an update in community. So I don't know, you may have seen, but just 2 days ago, we and you can read this whole post that we submitted, but basically, there's a lot of posts that are really being submitted in terms of product suggestions, and we do our very best to provide kind of information on the ones that we're working on. We're prioritizing the ones that are scheduled for a little bit later on. But in an effort to help kind of prioritize them and make sure that your voice for your preferences is heard, we're enabling voting features. So now if you come into any product suggestions, so for example, if I open this one, you'll see that you have the option to vote, and you have a limited number of votes. So make sure you use them, until this feature makes it back into the product, you'll have spent your vote there. So make sure it's used effectively. But it's done so that we can understand, okay, of all the product suggestions that are being submitted, what are the ones that the highest number of users would like for us to develop. So I think it's a really good way to have your voice heard within the product team. So this is now enabled. If you just go to community and click you'll see again, up at the top left, you'll have the option to vote and submit your vote. And the number of votes you get depends on the trust levels that you have as a user. And to get more votes, essentially, you just need to move up in trust level, and that means engaging more with the community. Or you can also reach out to me, and I can help out with that. But yeah, that's just an update that recently was released just 2 days ago that I wanted to share. Awesome. Yeah. So with that, are there any questions on this on voting? By the way. Okay. In that case, we can move to the Q&A. Ishmael, would you like to get started? You want to share your screen?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you see my screen now?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. Okay. I started scanning it with this form step. So as you see, every single one, which is 5 of them, oh, I'm sorry. I have to go to Tulip player.
And have you already, well, this is loading up. Have you already connected the barcode to your player?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
I did that. So as you see, it's scanning it pretty good. My problem is that after I finish scanning these, the submit button doesn't work.
Yeah, we can take a look. And what happens if you press it?
This is what happens.
Okay, interesting.
And it's not going to the next step, which I want them to be printed.
Yeah, okay, let's take a look. If you go back to the app builder, oh, you can leave that open. Oh, okay.
Oh,
and if,
sorry.
No worries. If you click here into the step tab, yeah, great. So the submit button, yeah, let's take a look at what's happening here.
It's customized submit button. And
okay, great. And then if you scroll down further,
so I'm trying to store the information. That was my second question. I'm trying to store the information in GTOM mini manufacturing data. And I just want to make sure that all 5 of them are going to be stored.
okay. And would you like to store them in a table or in a completion?
In the table.
In a table. Okay, great. And do you mind just scrolling all the way to the bottom here?
Sure.
Okay, this is great. So
one thing for you to know that I added a step there, but it just didn't work. So I deleted it. Go to next step. Yeah.
Okay, so if you scroll down just a bit, again, sorry, and then
That's
we can,
okay.
Yeah, we can a little bit more. Yep, we can go ahead and add a new action. And we can go ahead and say, okay, go to step, exactly. And let's just try putting serial numbers. Which one is it? It's serial numbers test, I believe.
That's the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Oh.
great.
So you want next or you want this one?
Oh, yeah, try doing that one. Yeah, exactly. Let's save this.
Yep.
And let's try opening up the player again. Yeah.
I tried it with next, didn't work, but I didn't try it with this calling the step by itself.
And were you getting an error message when you were trying next?
As you saw, nothing was happening. It wasn't going.
But the next wasn't there yet. So now if you click the submit button.
Oh, it's working now. So how come next button doesn't work?
But I don't think it was there beforehand.
Oh, yes, it wasn't there. But I added it and it didn't work. So I deleted it.
Oh, and you had filled out all, I think you can leave this open if you leave the player open.
Okay.
Yeah. And you had tried and you had entered all the information in the
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, we tried it with head, and head couldn't figure out what the problem is. So that's where he mentioned to talk to you about it.
Okay. Yeah. But this works correctly now, right? The first part.
Yes. Now it's working.
Okay. Great.
So okay. I think the key was that you called out that step by the name.
Yeah. So yeah, the first part is working and store all the data. So if you go and change this again. Yeah, so if you scroll down, it's not blank, it's not blank. Okay, great. So here, if we look at this action,
okay.
Essentially, if we read through it, it says, okay, data manipulation, store, and what is the information that we want to store? But here you're selecting table record. Whereas the inputs in that we're seeing in there are variables in the app.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, exactly. So we select now the 5 well, one at a time, but we do the 5 variables that the user is inputting.
So the variables are.
Okay, and then we store.
I'm sorry, I picked up the wrong one.
Oh.
That's because this icon in the bottom is on my way.
Oh, the zoom icon?
Right, yeah, that's okay. Right here. So we're going to start with this one. And then location is going to be table record.
Exactly.
Oh, that's good. Yep. That's where we want it. Right here. And what about this here?
So this is
it's going to be battery. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And so, okay, yeah, before you save this, do you know if you already have a table record loaded into the app?
Yes, I think I did.
Okay,
but
perfect.
I can check it.
Yep.
You want me to
save this? And now if you try running here, okay, perfect. If you try running the app.
Okay, let me see. Do I have the table record here?
Yeah, they're here. I see them.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So now if you try running the app, yeah, and now just click submit here. Let's see what. I don't think it was click.
No, it's not working. Maybe. Do I have to get rid of these and then rescan it again?
No. I think it should be fine. Yeah. Okay. Now we'll let you do it.
See, it's not working.
That's interesting. Do you mind restarting the app?
Not working.
Not working. Okay. Let's open up the trigger again. Yep. Okay, and if you scroll down just a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So my guess is that you actually don't have a table record loaded in. So let's try something. Let's add up a new action. And then if you move this all the way to the top here. Yep, right there. And here we can say table records. Create or load. Sorry, create or load.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Into Gita Mini manufacturing data.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. My fault. Here we need to change this to expression. Excuse me. Expression.
Okay.
And for now, let's just do random string to make sure that it's working. Then we can go in and change it. But if you just type random string here, yep, and then select this one here. Yep, click save. Then we can save this into Gita Mini manufacturing data. Okay, great. Now we can save this. Yep, and if you try running it again, right here on the player.
Right here?
No, if you just open up the player all the way down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now try clicking submit. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
You see, the problem was because even if you had a table record placeholder, you didn't actually have a record loaded up. So now if we go back into the builder, yes, and then we navigate over to, you click here. Yeah, and then you, okay, so sorry, you click here actually.
And then view it, right?
Exactly. Let's go view, make sure that all information is being stored correctly. Click go to table. Okay, so it looks like there were many that were created. Now, if you go over to page 2 of this table, so you may have to go in and delete these later, but and then all the way at the bottom here, if you scroll down,
it's right here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you click this record, okay, and but now essentially you need to do the same thing that we did with storing the information from the app variable into the table record.
You're talking about, let me see. You're talking about here in the trigger?
Yep, exactly. This one here. Scroll down. Yeah, exactly.
So this whole thing with this, not just that one. Yeah.
Exactly. Just this one needs to be created for
all the other 4.
Exactly.
Got it. Now, my last question is that, is there any way in that form step, as I'm scanning the barcodes, it will jump right next to the next one without me to ditch into that box?
Yeah, so let's take a look here. If you click save, yep, and then you open up this trigger here, because I think there's something happening. This one here. No.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, this one here, all the way. No. Yeah, exactly. This one. This one here. Yeah.
You talk about this one?
Yeah.
That's where I was trying to store those. Good observation. So I just have to get rid of these, right?
Yes.
This is where I was trying to store the data.
Store the data. Okay. Yeah, and so this is before you were like kind of clicking through all of them.
Right, right. Yeah.
Okay. So and are they, do they all have kind of identifying features to them? Like, for example, do you know that the battery serial number is always 10 characters?
Yes, they are all 10 characters. Yeah.
Well, I mean, sorry, just the battery?
No, all of them.
Oh, all of them are 10.
Yeah.
Okay, and is there another way?
As long as I know.
Yeah. And is there another way to identify them? For example, the first 3 characters are BAT or something like that?
No, the way I see it, they're all numbers.
Okay, and there's no way to identify them?
No.
Okay, so in this case, I think we can actually get rid of this trigger because right now you're clicking into it. So yeah, you can get rid of this entire
And
thing.
do after you took care of that trigger, do I need this now?
You can still have it if you wanted to go from one input field to the next to jump automatically for you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Would you like that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do that, but
yeah. So we can do it if you scroll up here.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we'll put a new condition. So do you remember what the first variable that they collect is?
the first one.
Yeah. If you navigate here to your player, here you can just click. You can leave this open. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's GDA mini serial number.
Okay, great. So then if you come here.
Right here, you see this is the first one.
Yeah,
second,
yeah,
so
perfect.
Yeah.
GDA MCB camera. Okay. Yep. Now if you open this.
Oops.
Okay, actually, but go up, yeah. Okay, and here we say, okay, if the variable yeah, and then here is where you tie it to the ID, GTMini serial number.
Right here.
Yeah, I don't know which one of the two it is, but let's get started with that one.
Yeah.
Is blank. Okay, that's strange. Try selecting the other one. Yeah, okay, so it looks like this is the one. Okay, then you can go ahead and delete all of these. Oh, no, you actually, sorry. You can leave this one. You can just delete from this one down. Yeah, so these you can delete. Okay, and yeah, delete this. And delete this. Okay, perfect. So if we read through this, basically what's happening is when it scans something, it says, okay, oh no, sorry, and we need to change this to GDA-min serial number here. Yep, right here. Okay, so do you understand what's happening here? Basically, we're saying, okay, when something is scanned, if this variable is blank, then that means that the user hasn't entered any information. So let's store it in here. So now we can save this.
No, I don't have to add the other variables.
Well, we'll need to copy it. We'll need to copy it for the other ones.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So you can save here, and then if you open it up in the player, so all the way at the bottom here. Okay, and try again, complete, and restart it.
Close to the prints. So I'm expecting now to rescan it. I mean, scan the second one. I'm not going to digit it.
Well,
Is it going to work?
We've only done it for the first one. Do you mind just deleting this information real quick again that you just put in? Just emptying
This
it
one
out.
here? Yeah.
Okay, and then click, put your mouse somewhere else. Yeah, okay, now scan something. Okay, so I think there may be a mistake with the variables, the way we set them up. Go back to the builder. You can leave it open, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, go here. Okay, and then click here. Okay, so that's why this variable here is called serial numbers, G them in, serial numbers, okay? So now if we go into step, yeah, and then we see this one here. Okay, and we see instead of this one, we now select the one that it's actually tied to. So if you scroll down, yeah,
Right.
here it is, exactly.
This guy here, right?
Yep, this guy here. And then same here, we'll store it, you need to change it there as well, exactly. You can change it to this one, exactly. Okay, now click save. Perfect, and test it out. And you can just, yeah, click here, put your mouse here, and now try scanning. Did you scan?
Yeah.
I didn't. You mind try scanning again?
Yeah.
Okay, you mind restarting the app very quickly?
Yeah. I think we should do that just in case.
Okay, try scanning. Okay, and you definitely, if you navigate over to tools, add custom barcode scanners. Okay, and where did you get this information from?
That's a good question. I had to go first of all to see what the settings are in the Windows, and then I contacted the manufacturer of the scanner, and they provided me numbers. One of them I entered per your articles that I have to force it in by 0x or something like that.
Yeah, right. It seems to be in hexadecimal. That's why because it looks strange that this is the format.
Yeah, and then somehow, don't ask me how it worked.
Well, no, but it works. It works if you highlight the field, if you're noticing. So because when you select a field and scan something, that is just acting as a keyboard. It's not actually acting as a barcode scanner.
No wonder maybe I have all these problems.
Yeah. So I would go in and verify this as a first step. But then anyways, and then you'll need to just copy this trigger once it's working for all your other 5 variables, and you'll be all set.
Yeah. So what do you think I need to find out what the vendor ID and product ID is?
Yeah. Yeah. And here I can share the article with you.
Yeah, I read the article, but first of all, it's not covering the Tau brand, and I'm having difficulty to find out what the product ID is on this.
Yeah, if you follow that, you need to go into like your computer settings, and then you'll be able to find it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I do want to see if there's other folks on the call that have questions. If not, we can continue here, but just because there's some other folks here. And
sure, no problem.
Yeah. Hopefully that's enough to get you underway.
Sure,
again.
Yeah, that was enough. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Adam, Delroy, or Chris, do any of you have any questions that we can help out with?
I don't have any questions.
Nothing for me either. No.
Okay.
Actually, I do have a question. I can share my screen if that helps.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I have to adjust my settings. I'll have to jump off the call real quick, but I'll jump right back on.
Okay. Yeah, Ishmael, while we're waiting for that, you'll see the, I mean, it could be that that you put in the correct vendor ID and product ID, but I would just double check just to make sure, because it wasn't actually scanning in unless you highlighted the fields, and that's a good indication.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, the app looks really good.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try to.
Looks like it's almost there.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the printer function, as you notice, it goes to the printing function.
Oh, okay.
So all I have to do just make it a little bit fancy if I can.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be sharing my screen. Let me know when you can see it.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, so currently right now I'm using an app here, so I can go through the run here. So essentially what we're doing is we are doing a sort of troubleshooting guide. So for different machine centers, we have different alarm codes that can trigger. And right now those alarm codes are, we have the kind of like a screenshot I've taken from PDF that I want to populate based on the alarm. So right now we have like a table record here. So, you know, go through. Right now we can only have 2 sets, so I'll just do one of those. So it'll populate all the different alarms. So, okay, so let's say alarm 101. We'll select this. And the goal is that there should be a picture here showing what that screenshot is. So now when I go into my table record here, there are screenshots posted in here that they're just not populating into that table. And so if I go back into, so here, so here it's pulling the record from, and it's a picture, so it should be, it's pulling from Alarm Guide's screenshot. And I have the different table records with different queries in here as well. So I guess I'm not sure why it's not populating into the app when it's in the player.
Does it work? Have you tried from the developer mode if you click test? Have you tried it from in here by any chance?
I did, I believe yesterday.
And it wasn't loading.
No, so if I do this, and it's still not loading.
Yeah, okay, and if you just go back here real quick.
Yep.
If we try changing this this here from instead of just that individual column within the record, if we display the entire record.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you is it this one here or is it the other one?
Let me see. Screenshot master. Okay.
Okay, and now if you just try, if you go back to in here real quick into the player. Okay, so
yeah, let me restart it just to see.
Yeah.
So 900 after 801.
Because you see, it looks like the table record actually isn't loading up into the app. So it's not just screenshots that's missing; it's the entire record. that
Okay.
seem to be coming in. So if we go back into the app editor.
Yep.
Yep. And then let's see this here. If you
Yep.
just into here. Okay, so this is alarm description.
Yep.
And is that the same one as we have over here? Sorry, I'm drawing all over.
No, it's fine. So they're kind of cascading table records. So like I have one for here, so it's by line. Then I have one, it kind of adds a column for each one, so you can filter them. So line, equipment, alarm code, alarm description, and then alarm screenshot is the kind of progression.
Oh, okay. So actually, question on that, on the way to set it up here.
Yep.
Yeah, you know that on you can add filters on table, like, you know, I mean, it's up to you how you define them, but if, oh, that's strange. Why is it not? Is this a regular? Oh, because it's a query.
Yep.
Okay, okay, got it. So if you were to have a regular table, you can add a filter to it. So that way, like, it allows you, like, instead of needing to have 5 different tables, you can store it all in one table and then filter out that way. That's just like a suggestion to, like, you know, you can, you know, like, that's kind of, you can have, like, the way I've seen it done in the past is like one big table like this, and then you have a series of drop downs that filter for all the things you want.
Okay.
So here then the person can select, for example, okay, line 600 or 700, whatever it is, and then it filters this table here with
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so it may be a simpler way of doing it, because the problem that we're running into now is that, you know, we're not actually loading the table record, which is why we're not doing the screenshot. And it's easy to do if there are lots of table records, kind of knowing which one is loaded and which one isn't.
Right.
So I guess long way of saying, but I just yeah, I mean, I would seriously consider kind of restructuring this a little bit. And it's not actually that much work. It's just kind of like putting all the information into one table with all the columns that you can filter by.
Okay. Yeah, and I have that table. So if I go to, so in this table, I have everything. You know, I have my ID, the line number, the equipment, the alarm code. I have all this. So I guess, so basically you're just going back and
Yeah, exactly.
all these different steps, essentially just not using the individual tables, just using that final table.
Yeah, exactly. So I can show you actually how, if you go here to add a step, we can do it real quick.
Okay.
Yep, just like, you can do like demo.
Yeah. Demo. Yep.
Okay, awesome. And then we can go ahead and embed an interactive table. Yep. And then if you, yeah, okay. And then you select that table there.
To a table, and then it should be good screenshots.
Okay, and then just select a couple of columns.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, and you're right. Sorry, and a link placeholder as well.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Probably not going to be in. I can always adjust the order, but
yeah. Okay.
You can. Awesome. There you go. Yeah, I just wanted to do this real quick, just so that way it's in the right progression.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't need ID.
Yeah, and then if you click here into inputs and do single select. Yeah, and you move this up here, exactly. And then here we'll say, okay, for example, let's call this one line filter. Yep, create this. It'll be type text.
Yep.
Yep.
And just create it.
Yep, exactly. And we'll put in 3 options that need to match exactly with what you have over here. So 600 line space 600.
Yep.
Yep. 700 and line 800. Exactly. Okay.
One more. Yep. And then, so I guess the only question, I guess, with filters then is then, like, if I look at this table here for example, like for alarm descriptions, for this table, there's probably going to be about 100 different line descriptions. So with a filter, would I have to manually add all of those?
Like, I mean, even after you filter by line, by equipment, and by alarm code, there's still going to be 100.
Well, so I guess if total right now, just based on two different lines or two different, so one line, two different equipment centers, there's already about 100 codes between just those two. And then each alarm code has a separate description. So I guess my concern, I don't know if that it should be a concern, but doing a filter, if I have like 50 per equipment center, and then there's 4 lines, that I would have probably to add all these options, right? Or is it?
So here, I can show, like, if you go here, if you click into the interactive table,
Yep.
Now you can add a filter. And you see on the, yeah, exactly. And you see here how right now you can have it match all conditions. So for example, you'll select a line, an equipment, and a type, and then it's going to filter everything out. But here, yeah, if you go to line, exactly needs to equal the variable.
A variable.
Sorry, there's a million things.
Yep.
Save. Yep. And then if you, oh, actually, you already have this open. Yep. And then just navigate to the other step.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Demo. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and now you, for example, you select line. Exactly. So now you see it has already filtered out to these ones here. Then it doesn't have to be kind of from a drop down. You can also just do like free text, like kind of like if you're Googling something. So if you want to do like, I don't know, like you just start typing E and it's only going to filter out these two. That's something else.
Okay.
Yeah. So to do that, you could kind of come in here, put an input. Yep, text, exactly. And then you can call this one, for example, equipment filter. Yep, create it. Okay, and then go back into here. And then we'll add another filter to the one that you created earlier. Yep, add a filter and equipment equals, or yeah, exactly, equipment filter. But instead of equals, I would change it to contains.
Oh, gotcha, right, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it just does it exactly. So now if you go here and test it out, yeah, and you start typing. Well, it needs to match, if you do capital E.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's case sensitive. So that's, you could make it case insensitive, but it's, yeah, this is, you see.
Here, let me do this. Let me do an example here where it's going to be a little easier.
Oh.
So like, that's kind of my concern, because like here I have all these different alarm codes.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. And and well, can you do this same logic to the alarm code?
I could, yeah. I guess my yeah, I guess that could work, because again, I guess there's just inherently as much risk as if misselecting as there is mistyping.
Yeah.
Like, so if you were to accidentally like, as it was established before, so if I go to this step here, or if I go back, so if they were to do 900, that, and they were to select it, I don't know if inherently it's more risk of them misselecting than there is mistyping.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, because there it's both typing and then selecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but just to kind of finish it off, if we go back here into this step real quick.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
The demo one, exactly. And then go back to the app editor. I just want to make sure that the images are displaying. So if you go to text and then table record.
Do another, yep.
Yeah, just this individual record, and then display this main one. Yeah.
Okay, so the whole screenshot master, right?
Exactly, yeah, and just make it a little bit bigger, exactly. And then you go back into the player. And then you try selecting one of them. Okay, so here you have the screenshot, and this is now loading correctly.
So then if I were to just go back, and if I could just, like, essentially deselect these, just have the alarm guide screenshot, and then that should, oh, okay.
Yeah, you can try it out, actually.
Okay, yeah, let's do it real quick, just to, while I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, if you go back here real quick, sorry. and just change this from here and select the entire, just the image itself.
Just the image itself. Okay.
Yeah, just the screenshot itself. Exactly. Now you can make it. Yeah, now you can.
Bigger.
change
Okay.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, this actually might work better then. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, of course. I think this is yeah, doing it like this, I think is better also, like just having everything in one table is like less stuff to maintain, and you can really do a lot of stuff with the filtering. So
Yeah.
I would seriously consider doing this. And then, you know, like for example, you know, like what was happening earlier where the screenshot wasn't loading actually was because the table record wasn't loaded. So if you only have
Right.
table record, it's easier to identify these problems.
Right. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. This is awesome. So yeah, actually, I didn't even ask the use case of this. I mean, you described it a little bit earlier, but is it going to be running? I saw Newark somewhere. Is it going to be running in New Jersey?
So actually, I'm in Delaware, but basically, so what the premise is, real quick, just so I can try to show you. So the premise is that when they fill this app out, it's going to create a troubleshooting guide here. So I basically have to be able to store those values. But essentially what you do is we'll have this whole table here that should auto-populate. That way, when we want to do looking at different reliability things, we can have all the data here at once. And it's a good way of tracking digitally any sort of issues that are happening on the line. So you can figure out, you know, hey, if we're having issues with this certain equipment center and we've had 10 alarms, this code 10 times in a month, okay, well, maybe it's something we need to work out. So
that's awesome.
but
Yeah, really cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining. Are there any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, awesome. So in that case, thanks again, everybody. Good session, and we'll see everybody next week.
Thank you.
All right,
Sure,
thanks.
thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Cheers, thank you.
Bye.